Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group, but what I want to do today is show you around and take you for a test drive in the new 2026 Honda Passport. We'll look at the interior, exterior, some of the trim level specifics, then go for a spin around, see what it's like out on the road. All right, so now we're behind the wheel of the 2026 Honda Passport. I can't believe we're already at 26 models now, but this one did get a pretty cool redesign. So the trim levels did get shaken up a little bit for the 26 model year. So kind of the base trim would be the RTL, and then this one's gonna be the TrailSport. So there's a few other options or trim levels or packages you can add in, so we'll cover that a little bit more, but the TrailSport does give you some pretty cool equipment. Now the big changes for the 26 model year, obviously on the exterior styling. Up front, you're gonna notice that completely different grille design with the cool headlights up there. The TrailSports also get the orange tow hooks up front and a little bit more obvious off-road focus. Now they figured out the market right now. If you're looking at maybe the Hyundai XRT or looking at the Toyota 4Runner, there's a lot of pretty cool off-road models that are offered, and Honda did a really great job, I think, with this new TrailSport. So for now, let's put it in drive. We'll cover some more stuff when we're on the go. Now let's begin with what powers these Passports. So there's going to be a 3.5 liter V6 and it's now a 10-speed automatic transmission. I think they added about 5 horsepower from the outgoing model, so not a huge difference there, but the 10-speed is really smooth and very comfortable and very easy to live with when you're out on the road. Now what's cool about the exterior design, again starting there, this is a new color called ash green. So they've added an orange color and this color. It looks amazing. And I love that it's got some of the black accents, whether that's on the mirror caps or the door handles, but they didn't go with a black wheel. It's kind of that gray or titanium look to it. It works very nicely. And this one, obviously being the off-road focused model, it's going to come with an off-road tire. Now that's a General Grabber 275/60/18. So that's more than capable of getting you down the trail to the campsite. Maybe you're at the cabin buzzing around. It's also not a very noisy tire when out on the road, I've noticed. Sometimes when you get a little too aggressive with maybe some of the compounds, it can get a little loud, but I didn't really feel too much of that since I was buzzing this around today. Now, a few other things on the exterior of this TrailSport. So this is kind of the base higher trim level, if that makes sense. So there would be sort of that TrailSport Elite, which is going to give you a ton of equipment, but this one still gets you the power liftgate out back. And what they've done is they've changed that little storage area. So if you're into camping or maybe the outdoors, there's a lot of usability back there and some pretty cool storage options. Now on each side, there's kind of little cubbies that you can store stuff. I think the plan was if you wanted to bring some of the larger water jugs with you, you can keep that for the campsite, which is pretty neat. You can easily store some stuff back there. And then under the floor, you have a spare tire under there if you lift up on the right side. But then if you pick up the left side, there's just one little cubby underneath. That's actually pretty deep. You could easily throw some muddy boots back there or some camping gear if you want, or anything else you want to keep out of sight. That is pretty cool. Not to mention, there's also an AC or a standard household plug back there. So if you're on the campsite or just using something, maybe you're doing a project around the house, you can plug in back there, use some tools. That is a pretty sweet addition. Now, let's talk about the second row. I am blown away at how much room is in this Passport. I could almost stand up. It felt like a little conversion van when I was in the back. It's almost laughable because, and at 6'1", where I'm driving comfortably here, it's very rare that I get in the back seat and say, oh, I have a ton of room back here. But that's exactly how it is in the Passport. Now, where does this fall in the lineup? It's somewhere between the CR-V and the third row Pilot. So the Passport offers seating for 5 and it actually delivers on that promise. You could put 5 adults in this vehicle, everyone's gonna be comfortable, you're gonna have tons of room, or if you got the kiddos back there in the car seats, maybe it takes a little more for their little legs to reach and kick the back of your seat. But there also is charging back there as well, so they can keep all their devices charged up if you're maybe heading out on the road trip or again, just buzzing around town. Now, what about the ride and drive? Like I said, that 10-speed automatic is so smooth and comfortable. You don't really even notice it at all. If you want to notice it, there is paddle shifters on here so you can manually change through the gears, and you do have some selectable drive modes. So if you want to do a sport mode, a few different off-road modes, or a towing mode, as this is capable of towing 5,000 pounds now, you can certainly do that. But from the driver's seat, it's pretty awesome. I always really like the Passport, and like I said, these off-road tires, giving you that style and usability, whether it's maybe even just tackling these Minnesota winters, there's a lot to like here. But from the driver's seat, it's very comfortable. These seats are amazing. Not only are they heated for the driver, but also for the front passenger here. And if you bump up a level, you can either go to a full leather seat that would be ventilated, and you can even add in a heated steering wheel. Now I do really like this leather wrap steering wheel. It's got the orange stitching that runs through and that little TrailSport logo down here at the bottom. Now there's a few buttons on the left side here. One would be your voice controls, so you can click that, pretty much ask it to do anything you want with the Google Assistant. I can click that, say Walser Honda. It's going to take me right to the dealership. It not only gives me directions on the infotainment screen, but it's also going to give me directions on the digital gauge cluster. So speaking of that digital gauge cluster, it's pretty easy to use. Some things get a little overcomplicated, but that's a great thing about Honda. Left side controls the left, right side controls the right. So there's a little spin wheel here. You can go between your AM, FM, Apple CarPlay, like I said, that Amazon Alexa, and then the right side, you can keep track of all your other pertinent information. So whether that's things like your fuel economy, or like I said, you can even pull up the nav to have the Google Maps screen in there. That is pretty cool. Then on the right side of the steering wheel, some of your safety features. So the Honda safety sensing features are so good. There's a ton of standard safety in here. You could spend almost an entire video going through it all. Some of the highlights are obviously the emergency braking, the pedestrian notification, or you've also got the adaptive cruise control. So what I like is I'm cruising here on the road, I can turn that on, as well as the lane departure mitigation system, and you can set different distances for how I'd like that to keep the vehicle in front of me. You can go from furthest, far, mid, or nearest. I like that it labels them. That's kind of a funny thing to me, but it does work. And if you're eating up a ton of miles, it's very comfortable and easy to do that from behind the wheel of the Passport. Now the 12.3-inch digital screen here, I didn't even touch on it. I've got my phone as we always do. I've got wireless charging down below, and then wireless Apple CarPlay, as well as wireless Android Auto. It makes it so simple. It's very safe when you're on the road as well, but it's easy to just pair up your phone. It took about 30 seconds. Now I've got Google Maps, text messaging, Spotify, everything right in here. So I'm not messing with my phone at all when I'm on the go. I love how well that works and how simple it is. Now outside of that, the regular screen, to me, if you've ever played any video games, it feels like going through a video game menu. It has a very satisfying click. When I click on something, maybe you can kind of pick that up in here, but you can go through, look at all your safety settings, not only on the digital gauge cluster here, but also in the main screen. You can look at a ton of other stuff as well. You can add apps into here. It is a lightning fast screen as well. I was amazed at how quickly the Apple CarPlay did work. There's pretty much no lag in the screen whatsoever. It's definitely something I'd come to expect out of a 2026, but you'd be surprised. Not all infotainment screens are created equal, but this one is very good. Now we've also got the backup camera in here. So that's going to show me a few different views if I want to change that, but it makes it really easy to see what's going on. You pop it into reverse, and you do get in the digital gauge cluster here some parking sensors. It'll show it on the right side of the screen. I really like that. It is very cool. Now, next to my wireless charger here, there's kind of a topography theme that runs through the vehicle. It's down here on the mat. It's kind of a rubber touch mat here where you could put another cell phone if you wanted, or you do have that little storage cubby up over in front of the passenger there, which is pretty convenient. And one other thing that's pretty cool, this vehicle comes with a remote start. It's built into the key fob. You can fire it up. I think it runs for about 10 minutes, and you can also get the heated seats going that way. It's pretty cool, or you can even cool the vehicle off when it's pretty hot outside. Okay, so that's a lot of information very quickly. Now we have to touch on the price though. So the MSRP on this one's going to be right around $50,000. So obviously the RTL would start a little bit less, and as you build a little more equipment going up to the Elite model, that would give you even more equipment. But the price does go up from there. But I think the TrailSport is a pretty sweet spot. I mean, you're getting a lot of great equipment, and when you're looking at the average new car price, this is pretty much right on par. It's $49,000. This one comes in right around that $50,000 mark. So for being the average new car price, there's more than average amount of equipment in here. If you're finding someone who loves going outdoors and camping, and you want the reliability that you've come to expect with Honda, and not to mention when you're buying at Walser, we're offering an 8-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. So that can keep you on the road for a long time, and with Honda's standard warranty and just the general kind of reliability that you would come to expect with Honda, I think this is an amazing family vehicle. Maybe the kids are growing up, or maybe you don't need the third row, but you still want all the storage space. So maybe you don't want to jump up to the Pilot for exactly that third row, but you still want a little bit of storage space. This can certainly deliver on that. I, again, was amazed at how much room is in the second row. how comfortable this is out on the road. So one other thing we didn't even touch on is the panoramic sunroof. So that's going to come standard on the TrailSport here. It really opens up, especially the darker interior, and makes it great for the kiddos, or if you got rear passengers, or even just driving here. It really lets a lot of natural light on, and I absolutely love that feature. What a fun vehicle. I think the style looks really good. And if you're shopping, again, cross-shopping some of these off-road kind of based SUVs, there's a lot of them in the market right now. And I think Honda did a pretty good job of making this one fit very nicely into a pretty competitive space. So I think 95% of the time, it's just you in the car buzzing around, you just running to work, running to the gym, picking up the kids, whatever you might be doing. I think the Honda Passport can definitely get all of that done for you and be really comfortable and have a lot of features while you're doing that, not to mention being really safe. I think Honda's really kind of hit the nail on the head here with this one, and I think if you're in the market, you gotta get out, take one for a spin, and see what you think. Now that was just a quick look and drive at the 26 Honda Passport. Now if you have any other questions or you'd like to take one for a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by anytime. We'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for watching.